Thanks to SimpliSafe for sponsoring the video. Hey everyone, thank you for joining me today. We're going to be starting on the interior of the side porch where we just put the French door. I went ahead and got the plastic over the windows. It's been really cold and windy, so that's going to keep me protected just a little bit, and luckily I've got the door. I think the route I'm going is I'm going to tear the siding off the house. We're just going to go with a nice new drywalled finish in here, and then we're going to be putting down some OSB and doing some other things and getting it ready for the rough-in inspection. Gonna wrap it up for the evening. Be back in the morning to hopefully get the rough end work on this room finished. So I got the floor smoothed up, and then I think I'm going to put some receptacles in this wall here. I've already done some of the wiring. Got a work box right there, then one right here, and then I need to get this wire right here back down through the wall to a switch box, as well as put in the little short studs here, and then kind of figure out what the next step is on this porch. While I take a break from the cold, I want to tell you about the sponsor of the video, Simply Safe. I've been getting some questions regarding the water sensor and the smoke alarm, so I want to answer those questions and then show you the rest of the system. Coming into the kitchen, I've got the water sensor. You can see it's about 2 inches and about an inch or so tall, and then underneath it's got the little sensors that actually pick up on the water. You can put these anywhere, behind a toilet, under washing machines, under sinks, wherever you feel is best. But it works very simply. When water flows onto it, up under it, it sets off the system. Allow me to demonstrate.
Water sensor triggered. Water sensor alarm off.
After you enter your PIN number, you're going to see a bell symbol. Push that, and you'll see which one of your sensors triggered your alarm. Motion sensors are available. A camera located in the kitchen. A centrally located glass break sensor. A panic button in the bedroom. And lastly is the smoke alarm. I've been getting asked if it has anything to do with the normal household smoke alarms, and the answer is, in terms of them being connected, no. Of course, they can both still work. If the battery died in one, you've got the other. These are normal hardwired smoke alarms that are just in the house normally. But this one, of course, is hooked up to the service of being 24/7 monitored. So if this goes off, just like any of the other sensors, the police get notified, and then the correct services will be sent to your house to save the day. Installation of the system is extremely easy. People see me do these renovations and worry when I say something's easy that it might not be so easy for them. But in the case of the devices on the back, it's just peel and stick. This is the glass break sensor, and you can see this is made to go in a corner or flat against the wall. In my case, I have it nicely placed on top of my trim, but it is very easy to install. Peel off the white paper, stick it to the wall. To learn more about Simply Safe, visit their website at simplysafe.com/homemadehome. That's a custom URL that lets them know I sent you. And if you don't mind, go down in the comments below and thank them for sponsoring this video. It's sponsorships like this that help a grown man with a family keep making YouTube videos. The weather today was pretty good, so I went ahead and did the caulking on the porch about 2 hours after this, and I can paint it. I probably won't get to it myself, but all this is just inexpensive painter's caulking. And what it does is two things. It makes you look like a better woodworker and a better painter. Just seals up all those little small gaps that will show up once this is painted. And you know, you don't see the value of it until it's painted, of course, but once you do, you will be thankful you did it. The only other thing I need to do on the porch is kind of finish off these columns sort of where they meet up under there. I'm not quite sure how I'm doing it yet. I've got a few ideas, just haven't done it yet. That will be coming soon. And then I'm going to finish off kind of how I trim around the bottoms of these bands here. The reason I added those short pieces of 2x4 is for drywall nailing surface. The existing rafters, you can see, have a angled cut on the end to fall on top of the wall, so that short piece is just to make a nice transition to the wall for the drywall. I used to have the flat ceiling in here at the same angle as that wood up there. So that's taken care of. Nothing special about that, really. Of course, we put down the floor. The big decision, even though it was a simple way I went about it, was just to go ahead and close this window up with the studs in the window, and then this wall will get drywalled. The wall there, I had to fix the, add in those little cripple studs, and then some drywall nailing surface in the corner here, and then the wiring. An explanation of the wiring. This is a three-way switch to operate the two lights that will be in the ceiling. And then I drilled these holes here, and that's because there's going to be a wire that comes around this corner and then will come up into a switch and then go to a light on the outside of the wall. The other thing I may end up doing is putting a receptacle on the outside of the house right here. So that's why I haven't wired this in yet. I'm not sure what I'm doing in regards to the porch. So I have to, let me step out and show you. I have to consider the meter and the disconnect, so I'm basically going to have that handrail go right up beside the door here. I have to leave this space right here open because this disconnect door swings up, and I didn't want to get into relocating all that, so that's why I can't just connect all this into one porch like a lot of people have suggested. So I think the porch will come from here just to here, basically just a really small stoop and then the steps coming down, or I may bring it from here to the corner of the house just to make it just a touch wider, and then have a receptacle there, the light there, and then I'm thinking just a little thing that pops out over it there just to kind of keep the rain and whatnot off of the door. The next thing would be to decide if the steps come off the front or if they go down to the side, which would aim right towards where you park. What I like about that is it makes for easy just kind of walk in and go up. At the same time, it would then kind of impede the flow going down the side of the house. So ultimately, I think it's probably better just to have the steps come down. They probably come out to about right, flush with the front of the porch, or maybe a little further out. And it's still pretty much the same thing. You would come over and go up the steps. And then you wouldn't end up with steps coming out to like right here. So that's just my thoughts for now. And then, of course, took care of that caulk job on the ceiling. That's going to call it for today. Hope you all enjoyed it with going simple on the opening into the living room and just going ahead and walling that in. That made for a quicker video. That would have probably added a few more days to open that wall up or do whatever, but I'm glad it's a personal win for me to just go simple and not, you know, cut loose and open that all the way up. I won't get into all the reasons, but I think in the end, doing what I did was the best decision for me at this time on this particular project. Well, of course, it would have been more interesting to do one of those other things, but I think that this is a perfectly acceptable option to keep me moving forward. Lastly, before we go, I've been getting lots of, I'll call them anxious, and not all anxious in a negative way, but mostly worried emails and messages or comments, whatever, all the various forms of communication that y'all talk with me on, about a lot of kind of limiting thoughts in regard to opportunity that you are all seeking. Of course, a lot of people watching this type of stuff on YouTube, whether it's my channel or someone else's, they want to do it, either for their own place to live or for renovation, rental properties or just investments in general. So one thing I want to encourage everybody with is just to say, if you're considering this type of thing, you are in a good place in life. You are not somebody who is in some terrible situation that doesn't have a snowball's chance and you know where. If you're considering something, I'm not going to call this a novelty, but it's sort of, you're going above the normal once you kind of have a job or have an income or whatever it is that you do. And then in addition to that, you want to step in. If you've got money to invest, you've got time to spend on projects like this, you're starting from a good place. You may be slightly overwhelmed by everything that you have in your life, and that may be pushing you to this. But again, you're kind of coming at it from a place of with a lot of potential opportunity. So don't think of it in terms of everything that's in your way. Think of it, I think, more in terms of you have arrived, and now you just need to walk through the door. Now, walking through that door can be a little tricky. You got to get the extra money together. If you want to do what I'm doing, all this is being done with cash. You've got to get that cash together. Got to make sure you don't put yourself in a pickle financially, and then the responsibility of doing this type of thing. Again, not to get overwhelmed about. It's just, if you approach it from reasonable expectations and at least half a plan, you will be doing a lot better than if you have just scraped $10,000 together and find the first rat hole that you can trick somebody into paying that much for. So I think, be patient and be more positive about your situations, I think, is the simplest way I can kind of address that. Everything else you are worried about is kind of coming from a place of a lack of experience. Once you buy your first place, it seems like the world is just, moves so slow before you get your first house. You're like, oh, I'm never going to find it, And then you're watching videos that people have put fancy music to on YouTube, and you're like, oh, they all look so happy. They're not that happy. It's a lot of hard work, and it's freezing right now. I'm huddled into a corner avoiding wind right now to finish off this video. This is... it is what it is, so expect it to be what it is. But the reward for it is, I think, good. If you can build up passive income, it's almost like a form of insurance in many ways. You've invested your money in something that appreciates. It's real estate. Very rarely, houses may sell for less temporarily, but overall, real estate is something that just climbs. You're usually never screwing up by investing in real estate unless it's some sort of a personal thing. But just overall, the idea of investing in real estate is very, very good. You can look at, I recently heard something about what a lot of these very well-known rich people are doing, and they're moving a lot of their money over into real estate right now because it's just so bulletproof over time. Sorry if the wind's getting the camera a little bit. It's kind of breezing through here right now. Also, with the internet these days, your ability to access opportunity is just massive. And I'm not talking about just, pick up a camera and start making YouTube videos or anything to do with the type of stuff that I'm doing. But it's just, the internet lets you just look up stuff. It lets you contact people. It lets you go from, you live in some little small town and you think that's your available opportunities lie in that, to all of a sudden you can deal anything on the entire globe. I mean, literally, I'm like, with the stuff that I do, just for a small example, the book that I wrote on buying cheap houses, that book gets purchased all over the world. It's broken down to where I can see how many people are buying it from different countries. And I mean, there's people literally all over the world. I never even considered the fact that someone outside of the U.S. and maybe somebody from Canada, would buy the book. But it is regularly purchased in like Japan and in Germany and in all these different countries. People are buying it. And I just kind of wrote it for the guy down the street in my mind. But then people from all over the world buy it. So I tapped into a global market. Now, I'm not saying that it's a bestseller, but I'm just saying that that's a small example of I didn't even pursue it and it happened. And right now, just in general, it's not just strictly just to say use the internet to get yourself out there, but the internet is a gold mine. I think people think that the internet, you had the .com bubble thing, that was the big opportunity. That it was all those different companies that just made the guys who are doing everything they're doing now made all that possible. But like I think right now what we're kind of in for. I think the internet is going to explode with all the stuff that how phones have tied into it. Of course, that's been a long time. I mean, that happened a while ago, obviously. But I think that just the internet will just become more and more, the way it goes. And then with recent events, I think there's been just so much focus on purchases being made from the internet. Companies have shifted the way they do business. And then when things kind of get back to normal, I think that a lot of this will become the new normal, and that I think a lot of businesses will shift over to that. So then what that I think is going to end up doing, sorry if I think I'm figuring all this out on the camera right now, is it's going to shift a lot of people into a different way of thinking. And it's not going to just be about like one business has shifted to more online business, and that's all it is. Say one of their customers may just become more likely to buy from anywhere on the internet, much less just that store. So I think that just so much stuff is going to end up shifting towards it. And again, I think that the internet is an absolute gold mine right now, and it's one of those things that I'm tapping into. Looking into, like, I'm already involved, but so don't get kind of lazy and thinking, well, I'm already doing this, but thinking about it in terms of what am I not doing? What could I do that could be valuable and kind of simple and be able to fit in with my schedule? And the reason is for all this type of stuff, a lot of people ask me sometimes, they're like, where do you get all this motivation? Or how do you get the ambition to do this? Or how do you know how to do all this stuff? Most everything that I do, I think, is sort of like in defense or I'll say a preparedness type mindset of you don't know how long it's going to last. So what is it? Make hay while the sun is shining, or whatever it is. I don't know how. I can't Google it right now in front of y'all. But basically, while the opportunities are there, that's when you take advantage of them. You're not the person. You don't want to do things. Be one of these people who are geniuses in hindsight. You need to go ahead and take advantage of the good times. And as much as people, I think right now is not a good time, it is an excellent time for many, many things. Sometimes those opportunities just change or shift. And then sometimes the things I think that people think, oh, there's no opportunity in this right now. I think it's oftentimes because they're seeing something start to grow and they assume that it's peaked, and then it just continues to skyrocket, and then they missed out on it because they, even though they saw the opportunity, it was right there. You're definitely not going to get anything out of something you don't try. So don't come at it from that point of view. So I definitely think I need to stop talking right now. I'm going to go too far and say a bunch of nonsense and have to start all this over again. So thank you all for watching. And once again, thank you to Simply Safe for sponsoring this video and so many of the others. Again, check out their website. The link will be down below in the description, probably on the screen, but it's simplysafe.com/homemade-home. And a big thank you to all y'all for your continued viewership of these videos. Be sure to go down there in the comments and let me know what you think. Say hi to each other, all that. I hate begging people to do all that type of stuff, but go ahead and leave a comment. And as always, please keep giving me your ideas. That's been one of the most helpful things lately to keep me moving forward. It gives me good ideas, not only for this project, but for others. And of course, you can email me if you don't want to do a public comment and you've got something more specific that you want to answer. Ask some questions. And you can message me on Facebook, however you want to do it. It's fine with me. I check it all. And I talk with different people kind of consistently on all those different platforms. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.